Welcome. It's Writer's Dream time again. Our authors are here to tell you about how to write a book, how to publish a book, and how to market a book. Today's guest is Linda Bulinski, and Linda Bulinski has written a book called A New Beginning with Every Sunrise. Welcome.
Thank you very much for having me.
So tell us a little bit about your book. What
is
inspired you to write this book?
It actually, when I started writing down all the memories that I had in my head of all the journey that I've been through, after I read it, I saw that I could help somebody. Maybe telling my story would help people. So I figured that the more people I could help, it would be more beneficial. That's why I guess I went through what I've been through.
Okay, so tell us, what is it? What were the journeys that, in particular, that you wanted to write about?
Well, my book is really about life, love, and death, and never giving up the fight. So I've had breast cancer, two-time breast cancer survivor I am, and my husband had passed away from colon cancer. So between that journey, I had a lot to learn of no matter what happens, you have to find the good in every day.
Yeah, well, that is certainly a lesson. I too am a breast cancer survivor, and it changes you, doesn't it?
It definitely does.
So you kept a journal. Tell me what that was like. When did you start the journal?
I actually started it after my husband passed away, and I would have all these memories that I would write down and try to, so I could sleep, I'd write them down and try to get them out of my mind. And then after I started to read them, I said, this really can help people, you know, and you see all the good things. It wasn't all bad memories. Like
I was going to ask you that.
Yeah.
Was it the happy memories or the memories of him going through
Actually,
cancer?
more memories were happy that were coming through. So I had.
So you liked this husband?
I did. He was a good man.
Sometimes.
Yes, he was a good man. Yes, I know him since I'm 15 years old. We were high school sweethearts, yeah.
You know, it's really funny. Most of the people I know who have had a long-term happy marriage, it's somebody from high school or from their, from their teen years.
Right, you grow up together.
I should have married my high school sweetheart. He was a great guy. And I said, no, I want to see the world.
That's funny. Live and learn.
So what are some of the happy memories?
We used to go on vacation together all the time. You know, we did so many things with our son. We have one son together. He was the dad that always was there for everybody. You know, we were the couple that helped everybody. It was nice. We had a very good life.
And so that's a gift.
Definitely.
He
definitely was a gift to me.
Yeah. I have a friend who, his wife recently passed away from breast cancer, and they were married a long time. I would say maybe 40 years. And he is really having a very, very difficult time grieving. And every once in a while I just say to him, don't be greedy.
Right.
Don't be greedy, because they were in love.
Right, and
they
people
were happy.
don't get that.
Some people never have that.
No, this man told me the other day that I've already been to the top of the mountain, so anything that I have now is extra. And it was a nice saying.
Yes.
Because he was married for 30 years.
Yeah.
That was a nice thing to hear.
Now, who was diagnosed first? You or your husband?
I was diagnosed at 24 after I had my son.
Oh, boy.
So they found a lump, and I kept having nightmares, which is crazy, about this lump. And I kept going to doctors, and I went to this woman doctor who said, you know your body more than anybody else. So let's just do a few extra tests that, they're not routine. And I was stage 4. Like, how would I have known that?
Oh, my
but
God.
Something kept telling me, keep pursuing it. And thank God I did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very grateful. Very blessed.
So your pathology was pretty much just one of those aggressive forms of cancer.
Yeah. The lymph nodes at 14 positive nodes had already gone, was already traveling.
Yeah. So you had to have chemo.
I had chemo, I had bone marrow transplant, and I had radiation. And my son was just a baby. So for 30 days I was in a bubble, and I couldn't see him. So my sisters went to Sears at the time, and they took these big photos, and they put them outside the room, so I would see him all the time.
Yeah, that's... So, and you have a sister who's a nurse, yes?
Yes, she's a doc. She'll be a doctor next week.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, in oncology.
Is this the one I met?
Yes.
Tell her congratulations.
She's a superstar.
Yeah, I'll say.
When I got sick, she started to go to school. So everything that I went through, she kind of knew about it, and she was my advocate for everything.
Yeah, you were the inspiration for her. So that's one good thing that came
Yeah,
out of it.
exactly.
So did you keep a journal about your own breast cancer?
When I was in the bone marrow, every day I would write stuff. And when I got sick, when I got out, I never wanted to see that book again. So what I did was I just put it in an envelope and I mailed it to the Cancer Society. And I don't know what happened with it, but I can't even imagine if I read it back now, but it was all bad memories. So, when I started writing memories about this, it was like kind memories in my mind. So I'm glad I don't have that book. At first I wanted it, but then I said, there's a reason why. Maybe it helps somebody
But
else.
you purged yourself.
Yeah, I guess
You
it's
got
true,
rid
yeah.
of that. Yeah, but it's always a good way to do it. It's like when you're really angry at somebody, they say write a letter to them, but don't mail it.
Exactly. Rip it up.
So it's kind of the same thing.
Right.
Now, does your book have stuff from your journal in it?
No, it doesn't. It's just about me growing up with my husband and my sisters, my parents. I was very, very blessed to have so much love. And I think I wouldn't have got through what I got through so strong because they were always there. They would carry me when I needed to be carried. They were my support.
Yeah, that's very important, I think.
Yeah.
I think when you're alone, it's very hard to.
Definitely.
You have to really have a hard core inside you of strength to
true.
get you to get through that. So, would you like to read something from your book?
I could tell you something from my
All right,
book.
tell me. You don't have to read.
One good memory, a funny one, is when me and my mother, I used to always have to go for blood work all the time and have all these surgeries. So I went into the hospital, and we're waiting, and everything that could go wrong that day went wrong. So, and we were laughing about it, trying to make the most of it. So this woman came out, and they called me. I was next. I go behind a counter, and there's this phlebotomist who has an eye patch on, and she had her arm in a sling, and we were hysterical. We're like, "Are you kidding me?" Like, you know what? It's very good that you came to work today, but we're gonna ask for somebody else. Like we had no choice. Like I don't have good veins to begin with, so
Yeah.
let's not.
It's
That was
funny.
pushing the envelope.
It's funny how when you have these experiences, you get to know, even by just looking at some of the staff,
It's
who
true.
you want to
Right.
poke you,
true.
etc. So, but how did your attitude towards treatment progress? Did you become more comfortable with it? Was it more difficult to go? Were you, conceiving in your own mind what the difficulties would be? Once you do the first treatment, then you know what you're looking at,
Right. I just felt like no matter what, because I just had my son,
Yeah.
no matter what, I needed to just get past it. So no matter what they did to me, it didn't matter. I just, they told me I had to have chemo, and then it wasn't good enough. Then I needed to have the bone marrow transplant. So for 30 days, I couldn't see my son. So my goal was always, no matter what, you have to be okay, because who's going to raise him? Like that's always, my husband was there, but I needed to be there. So that was always in my mind.
Well, sure, that's you're biologically and psychologically primed to be the mother once
Right.
you have a child.
So no matter what this was, I was saying that absolutely not. So let's just,
So you beat the odds.
definitely.
You beat the odds, and probably for the two things that you say, you wanted to survive for your son. It was love.
Definitely.
I think your book is all about love.
It is.
Yeah. And then, when did your husband's diagnosis come into this?
He got diagnosed probably 10 years. I was probably, because I had breast cancer the second time at 32. So he got diagnosed at 41 with colon cancer. And we had gone to Aruba, and we got back. He didn't feel good there. When we got back, he was complaining of stomach pain. He collapsed, and when we took him to the hospital, he was in a coma, and that's how we found out. They came out, they told me.
He was bleeding
Yeah.
internally.
they said his colon perforated, and they didn't know if he was going to make it. So
Right. 'Cause
we
it's
went right into, you know,
Operate.
all of a sudden we switched roles. He was the patient, and I had to take care of him.
So, yeah, but you knew what you were facing. How old was your son then?
He was 17.
Oh,
Yeah, and he passed when he was 18. He was a little over 18.
and how old is he now?
He'll be 25
Okay,
in a few weeks.
all right. And what's he doing?
He's a salesman, which he was born to do. He could sell anything.
Okay.
Yes, but he is just like his father. He's a good guy. He
Now, this
really
is from my own actually curiosity, is that since I had breast cancer
Right.
twice, the second diagnosis, was it the same kind?
No, it was in my liver. So I had to have my liver. They did a surgery on my liver.
So it metastasized, but the cells were the same. The cells came from
Yes,
the breast.
it's like where it goes next, I guess. Yeah,
Yeah. Well, that's what when they take those cells out, they do a pathology,
right.
and then they can tell, what they're related to and whatnot.
What to look for. Where is it going next?
I know. Yeah, well, that's the thing. Once you have cancer, that's what you think of. They tell you, oh no, we got it with the chemo, the radiation, the surgery, whatever. But you always think in your worst moments, you're thinking about where are those little
Exactly.
cells, and what are they doing?
Right, and
right
stay
now?
quiet. Just stay in that body.
Just yes, absolutely. Yeah, it changes your whole outlook on life.
It makes you very appreciative of life. Like, I know that if people read parts of the book, they're like, oh my God, but I'm very grateful because I wouldn't be who I am today if I didn't have that, if I didn't have the love. Like, I'm going to be 50 in August, and people say, how could you say that? I'm like, I am so lucky that I'm going to be 50. I'll tell the world how old I'm going to be.
I feel the same way. I am never ashamed of
No.
how old I am. Because I made it
Exactly.
against all
It's
odds.
a celebration, without a doubt.
Yes, absolutely. You have your down times because you worry.
Right.
But
When you go for those scans, you say, oh, please.
Oh,
Right.
yes, those are the worst days, aren't
Yes.
they? And then they find something because they're so super careful, and they find something, and they
Exactly.
make you come back, and
Right.
you think, oh, here it goes again, and
Right. Then
yeah,
you're like, oh, that was something that we're just double checking, and
yeah.
which I'm glad they double check, but they give
Yeah.
you a heart attack in the meantime.
Oh yeah, you spend a couple of weeks in limbo.
Right. It's true.
Because I know when I was diagnosed with cancer, I felt like everyone else was having their life,
Right.
and I was up here somewhere watching everybody have their life because I had no life because I didn't know if I was going to live.
So true. I have felt that way every time I have that. And when my husband passed, people would say, they would be talking to me, and I'm thinking, don't you realize that he just died? Like, how is the world going on? And, like, everyone should be stopped right now. Like, and that's how you feel when you're waiting for that call. It might happen, it might not. You don't know.
And then when you get the diagnosis, it's the same thing. And then it's, I think the way you are treated as a cancer patient, though, has improved vastly in that the people who treat you are very positive, and you're going to do this, and you're going to do this, and of course the treatments have improved.
Definitely.
I mean, the fact that they take your own cells
Right.
and use them
true.
to target the cancer. I firmly believe, and I have a biology background, that eventually cancer will be a treatable disease.
Definitely. That would be wonderful.
And definitely for the two of us, it was not a death sentence. It was a treatable disease.
It's true.
I have a girlfriend who has lymphoma, and right now she's in remission. It's a treatable, not curable form of lymphoma.
Right.
She could live to be 110 with this. And every year she lives, there's a chance that there'll be a better treatment.
Exactly.
And that's what I think. Gets you through. I mean, I'm quite a bit older than you, and I remember thinking in terms of breast cancer being the absolute worst thing
Right. It's
that
true.
you could be diagnosed with. And I mean, it's still pretty bad because depending upon the treatment, you end up losing body parts that
Right.
the present culture defines you as a woman as. And
Right,
that's
that's the
pretty
hardest
tough
part.
to deal with.
It is.
But there's a lot of help.
Thank God. Thank
Yeah,
God.
so exactly would you say if I came to you and I said, I've just been diagnosed with cancer, any kind of cancer, and I know that you're a survivor? What would you tell me?
That you need to stay positive, and no matter what, don't lose hope. Because as long as you fight, that's me, you never give up. No matter what they tell you to do, you just do it. Because you have a whole life ahead of you.
Now, while you were going through this, the treatments and whatnot, were you very sick?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you couldn't really like do that thing where they say, oh, do everything that you ever wanted to do.
No.
Because you're too sick to do it.
Yeah, I couldn't do anything. I had an oxygen tank with me all the time. And, I was very sick.
Yeah,
But
sure.
I'm very grateful. I mean, I also, because my two sisters and my mother, and my dad, they kind of made it normal for me, my life. Like it seemed like I was doing more than I was actually doing because everything was by me. And so they made me feel like I was still living when I was going through something where I couldn't even lift my head.
Right, yeah. Like they brought you Thanksgiving dinner.
Right, and when I was in the bone marrow unit, I couldn't have any visitors. So,
Right.
But my mom would sit there with her gloves on and her mask on,
Yeah.
and she would put her hands through and she would touch me and she'd read to me. I couldn't even respond to her. And I would hear her voice,
Yeah.
and it gets you through.
No,
Thank
but
God.
sometimes that's just knowing that
Right.
the other person is there.
There's like attachment to life out there
Yeah.
that you need to get back to.
Yeah, I think, yeah, it's probably your attitude. And they've done studies where they show that being positive is very important in any treatment, I think.
Definitely. That's what I say. Laugh as much as you can because there's
Well, I
always
watched you and
funny.
your sister laugh through a whole radio program.
We laugh at everything.
We thought you were laughing at us. All right, so let's get down to the nitty gritty of the book.
Okay.
Okay, how was it to write the book? How did you do it? What was your how shall I say it? What were your writing habits? Did you write every day?
I used to write when I had memories, and then I would read back, and it was like an emotional roller coaster. Some days I would cry my eyes out, and some days I would laugh, like we would think of good memories. And between the two of it, it kind of balanced me out. And then I said, wait a minute, there's a story to be told here. This is going to help people.
So then, did you divide it into chapters?
Yes, I tried to, I would some days just write little sentences. And then I'm very anal, so I would put, this would probably go with, and it would be like before I had cancer or after Bill died. It was always like I had little categories for everything.
Yeah, structure. But structure is important when you're writing
Yeah.
a book. So then how did you publish?
I actually called quite a few publishers because, some would say, oh, you should tell more about when you have the chemos going through your veins and how that smells. I said, that's not what the book's about. I wanted to tell my story. I don't want you to tell me what my story was, and I want it to be positive. People who have chemo, they know how it feels.